This video is brought to you via the Doctrine of Fair Use. We're covered under the Fair Dealing and also Digital Millennium Act. I'm your host, Good Energy. Excuse the voice. I'm a little bit under the weather in New York all weekend, and that will do it, dear ladies and gentlemen. But what about the 15-year-old teenage phenom, Julieta Peraza? She just won Rancho Santa Fe. Now she wants a spot. She wants a spot on the big stage. She wants to dance with the big girls. Listen, guys, in the first round, she took out Kayla Day in straight sets. Whoa. She came out guns blazing, won the first set off of Stefani, dropped the second, and brought out the Rockets in the third. Could she get past Kimberly Burrell would be the question. Unfortunately, no. Kimberly Burrell would take the third round qualifier matchup and punch her ticket into the big dance. But I want to tell you right now, watch out for Julieta. She is going to be a force to be reckoned with when it comes to American tennis in the next 20 years. Now, I want to take a look at a matchup, or actually several matchups. Jessica Ponchet. We all know I'm a huge Jessica Ponchet fan. I love the way she beats opponents with one hand, the one-handed backhand, the slice. She doesn't really have a two-handed backhand in her arsenal, but we all know I'm a huge fan of her. Anytime the French Open rolls around and she's not going to qualify, she's going to get that wild card. She doesn't have to go through qualifiers. But when it comes to the U.S. Open, she has to go through qualifiers because her ranking, I mean, she's currently ranked 143rd, and she hasn't broke the top 100, which is mind-boggling to me because she's a pretty good player, plays a lot of doubles, but I'm disappointed. Now, I watch all of her matches here in New York, and I'm not going to say any names, but I just feel that some of these coaches are not preparing their players properly. You know, one particular player, I saw her struggling against, and look, I'm not saying any names, but I saw her struggling against Ponchet, and I'm telling her coaches, listen, she's got to get to her backhand. Jessica Ponchet is going to literally beat you with one hand. You have to speed her up with the backhand and mix in some short balls. So the coach actually told his player to do that. What happens? She goes to the backhand, runs off a few points. She goes to the short ball, Ponchet can't return them, wins points. But the player started to resort back to what she was comfortable with. And I left because it's just, I think these coaches need to prepare their players a little bit better. You have to know, and this is what the players are paying you for. You have to know what your opponent's tendencies are and what they're capable and not capable of doing. And Ponchet, you guys know I talk highly of her. She doesn't have a two-handed backhand. She's literally beating opponents with that all of the strength she has in her right arm. And yeah, she's been through a lot of surgeries, you know. She's banged up. And I just feel these coaches, it seemed to me like the coaches was not aware of what Ponche wanted to do. And that is troubling to me. But congratulations as Jessica Ponche, bonjour, comme allez-vous, all my French men and women on the check-in. She makes the big dance, and she deserves it. That's going to be another, guys, these qualifying rounds, they get some pretty big checks. They're literally getting more money. Literally, like you win the first round qualifying matchup, the U.S. Open draw, you're making more than like literally if you won a WTA 250. Just about. Now, if you go through all three rounds and you make the draw, that is a lot of money. So congratulations to Ponche and all the qualifiers. We're going to take a look at the now Manlick. Big meltdown, ladies and gentlemen. She was up 5-2 in the second set tiebreak. 5-2 with on serve. 5-2 in the tiebreak on serve. All she had to do was hold serve. Would have been 7-2. But she lost both points on serve. So that 5-2 is now 5-4. Ponchet held serve. 6-5. And then she had an opportunity to tie it up at 6. She had a short ball, and she did not put it away. And Ponchet advances. Now, I want to talk about rude crowds, ladies and gentlemen. And we're going to get into Potapova, okay? That's the title of this video. We're going to talk about that shortly because crowd was, yeah, we'll talk about that. But this crowd here, okay, Iyala. This crowd, this was a huge Filipino crowd. We all know I'm a huge fan of Gabriela Elena. You guys know that. I think she's just a nice person. She's a good tennis player, and I say it all the time. Her mental toughness If I were having a cup team from all nations where I could invite players, Gabby would be on my team because her mental tough. If I'm putting together the perfect player when it comes to mental toughness, Gabby's gonna. I need her brain. Okay, I need her internal thinking because she does not give up. She keeps fighting. Like for a stretch here, 2 to 3 years, she was playing through pain every single match. She's a warrior. And what she had to overcome with this crowd in New York City, this huge Filipino crowd, they're cheering double faults. They're cheering faults. They're literally this crowd bothered me because it's like there was no chill button. You know that chill button where you just gotta press it and say relax. There was no relaxing with this crowd. Every little thing they were cheering loud for Ayala, and it began to bother me, but it wasn't bothering Gabriella, which is why she can be on my team any day of the week. She had to dig deep in an hostile environment. That's right. She had to come back after dropping a set and this crowd cheering every chance they had. This is a small court. You could hear this crowd on Arthur Ashe. Unbelievable. And Ice Veins Gabriela Elena Russe would come back and get the job done, ladies and gentlemen. And she makes the main draw again. She had to go get it in the mud. Did you guys see Chris Eubanks and Mickelson? Now, this, I don't want to say it was robbery, but Mickelson hit a short ball in the third set tie break, barely got over the net, while Chris had the advantage in the rally, and that would have gave him match point. He's got to be upset. He would end up losing. Now let's talk about Potapova gone wild, ladies and gentlemen. And yes, she would go nutty today, trying to make the championship match here in Cleveland, and she would lose it, ladies and gentlemen. And when I say lose it, I mean lose it. She would walk up to the chair umpire. Now, listen. There's been a lot of abhorrent calls lately. We know that. Some of these calls are just bad. And if you ask me, as much tennis as I watch, I think the calls are getting worse. As technology advances, tennis is not doing anything to help their game. The integrity of the game, it's taking a big compromise, okay? Because I'm a huge fan of Kessler, but she hit this ball out, and Potapova went nutty, ladies and gentlemen. She went wild. She would walk straight up to the chair umpire and give him an earful, and then she would chew out her coach as well. And listen, guys, I say it all the time. I give Potapova a pass. The reason I give her a pass is because she can't control herself. She cannot help it. Okay? She's such a competitor. Her juices are flowing and she wants to win. She wants to compete so bad that she can't keep her composure. And I literally, honestly believe she can't control it. While players like Yelena Ostapenko, I think she can control it because she's smirking all the while she's doing it. She's like that little toddler that wants to go sneak some candy. They get caught eating the candy and then they can do nothing but smile. That's Yelena Ostapenko. She knows what she's doing. Potapova does not know what she's doing. She can't control it. She's such an amazing competitor that she explodes. And she gave this chair umpire an earful to the point where he had to say, "Stop talking. I've heard enough." He had to lay down the law. Whoa, did he lay down the law on Potapova? And she went. That's what a chair umpire has to do. But listen, guys, I don't necessarily think. Now, listen, the chair umpire, he could have overruled the call. It was out. But with the electronic line system, I mean, that can get messy because I've seen matches where, a call was made, they challenged it. The review showed the incorrect. The review showed the opposite, and then the chair umpire still couldn't overturn the call. So listen, I don't know what's going on behind the scenes, but we really need. Coco said it best. The tennis sport right now has to catch up to these other professional organizations where they can review a call and get the call correct without putting the chair umpires. I've volunteered, I've officiated matches And I'll be honest with you, it's not easy. It is tough. But there's no excuse, and I'm not talking about this match, but there's no excuse when a chair umpire is overturning 5 to 6 calls in a match and he's wrong. That's that's a little bit deeper than what I'm talking about here. Something's not right with that. That's an integrity issue, and that's something going on behind the scenes. Okay, for you to be changing 5 to 6 calls, overturning them, overturning line judges' calls when the line judge is right, but whatever. So Potapova would end up holding and tie it up, ladies and gentlemen. But I want to talk about McCartney Kessler. That's right, guys. Kessler McCartney from the USA, ranked 98th. Yeah, she's going to be in the US Open, ladies and gentlemen. She literally makes her first main tour championship. She beats her first top 50 player. She is having an amazing week here. And how did she do it? Besides the 11 double faults, she had 6 aces, won 63% of her first serves. Potapova did win 58% of her second serves. But listen, ladies and gentlemen, 7 for 19 on break points. Overall, there was 37 break points in this match. Now, I want to say something to you about Kessler. All right, guys. Kessler looks pretty darn good. She's playing very well. And the thing I like about Kessler is a lot of these rallies, Potapova hit rockets down the line. And if Kessler didn't hustle to return these balls, she would have lost a lot of these points. She beat Potapova by hustling after every ball. And you cannot teach that, ladies and gentlemen. This was an amazing match. She really put on a show for the crowd. And Kessler, guys, she's having a pretty good season. 34-17, coming off of a 49-win season. You know what I say when players are right around that 50-win mark within a season. You know what that means, right? Now, she just won an ITF tournament in the USA not too long ago. She did make the qualifiers in Washington, D.C. She did qualify for Wimbledon. She's having a good season, right, guys? She made the Australian Open, right? We saw her beat Fiona Farrow in the first round. She did lose to Linda Noskova, but it went 3 sets. And here in Cleveland, she took out Katrina Scott, Wong, Arantxa Rus, which is an amazing win, and she takes out Potapova. So she gets her first and second top 50 win of her career. She makes her first main tour championship, and she's going to have a chance to win a title in front of this American crowd. Amazing for Kessler McCartney. She's 25 years old, and I say it all the time. You never know when you get your big break. And look at her. She is shocked. She can't believe it. Look at her eyes, ladies and gentlemen. But again, this crowd, I talked about disrespectful crowds. I don't want to necessarily say this crowd was disrespectful, but Potapova, aside from the bad call, she did walk over to the chair umpire and tell him repeatedly, look, the crowd needs to relax. They're cheering faults. They're cheering double faults. They're cheering everything. And it really picked up Kessler McCartney. It gave her the strength. Potapova can't believe it. This was probably her championship to lose, and certainly enough, she loses this match as Kessler McCartney makes history for herself, ladies and gentlemen. She's going to take on Beatrice Haddad. That's right, from Brazil. That's going to be a good matchup. And the way Kessler's hustling, I think she's got a chance to win a set off with Beatrice, but I'm going to have to pick Beatrice to win this matchup. I think if Beatrice plays her style, she keeps everything in front of her, just about a foot inside the baseline. I don't think Kessler's going to be able to get under these shots to really threaten Beatrice. She was able to beat Potapova because Potapova loves the deep ball. So Kessler was able to use her athletic ability horizontally and get passing shots past Potapova. I don't think you're going to do that with that brick wall. I say it all the time. Beatrice, she's not necessarily a great defender. Her best defense is her offense. And just by the way she keeps everything in front of her, it's going to be tough for Kessler to hit winner. So I do like Beatrice to win that match. That's the pick, guys. Enjoy. Stay tuned. We're going to break down the U.S. Open round by round. Stay tuned. Like that video. We have more videos coming. I'm your host, Good Energy. See you soon.